Hello and welcome back to the Leading Yourself podcast. We are continuing our series around mindset and mindset shifts. And this week, we're going to be talking about the mindset shifts that we can make in order to get more things done, to be more productive. Because who doesn't want to be more productive? And the thing is that when we talk about productivity, the first thing that comes to our minds is time management systems and tools and planners and calendars, our to-do list. And a lot of times we fail to start with the foundation, the one that is going to set us for success to be able to be more productive. And that is our mind. Our mind is so powerful. And today we're going to be talking about some mindset shifts, subtle ones that we can make that are going to help us feel and be more productive. Welcome to the Leading Yourself podcast. This is your host, Carolina de Arriba. I'm an HR professional, health and fitness coach, wife, mom, and above all things, a goal-getter. In this podcast, we're going to be digging into all things leadership, professional and career development, habits, and relationships. This is a podcast for those who want to become the best version of themselves. Those who have big dreams and are willing to embrace the journey and put in the work to achieve them. My goal is to share with you the tools, tips, and tricks to help you in your journey. So let's dig into today's episode. I think it's safe to say that we all want to be more productive and get more things done. I don't think that I have ever met anyone at work or outside of work for that matter that doesn't want to be more productive or get more things done with the same amount of time. But how is it that some people are really good at getting things done and you see them and it seems like they're super women or supermen that get all the things done and they're super productive, and there's other people who struggle and feel like they can't do more and they feel trapped in this like hamster wheel all the time? Why is it so difficult for some to stay productive while others can easily be productive all the time for a long period of time? Maybe it's time to look at ourselves and more specifically our mindsets if we want to figure this one out. The mind, it's a powerful thing. It dictates a lot of what we do, but also how we feel and how we act. Our mindsets can influence how we do things without even thinking about them. And sometimes shifting our mindset might be the thing that we are overlooking in the mix. When we talk about wanting to be more productive, what do? We look externally. We look at the time management systems and the different tools that might help us be better at managing our time and be more productive. Always looking to external things. And don't get me wrong, I'm a fan of all of those things. I love a good planning system. I have my own. I have talked about how to develop your planning system before here in the podcast. I am always willing to try different tools to help me be more productive. I'm a nerd when it comes to productivity and time management. And all those external things are very helpful and part of the solution to becoming a more productive person. But none of that is going to serve its purpose if we don't start laying the foundation. And that foundation is our minds, our mindsets. There are some mindset shifts that we can make that are going to set us for success when it comes to becoming more productive. Have you ever asked why is it that two people might be using the same time management system and one is very successful and the other one fails? It all boils down to mindset. We are very quickly to jump into solutioning by implementing tools, sometimes the wrong tools, sometimes too many tools at the same time, without having a solid foundation. And just like a house will fall apart no matter how good the quality of the materials we use in building it, no matter how much we invest in building the best house that we can think of. If we don't have a solid foundation, that house is going to fall apart. And our mindset is that foundation when it comes to our productivity. So today, I want to talk about some mindset shifts that you can do to be able to get more done and start boosting your productivity. Try to assess how you stand with each of these mindset shifts that I'm going to share with you. And I'm going to invite you to honestly, like visually honest in evaluating yourself, whether you are already practicing these mindsets or if you still have to do a little bit of work around any of them. You might be surprised on what you find as you reflect on these mindset shifts that we're going to share today. We're going to cover 5 in total. It's going to be a short episode, I promise. It's going to be short and mighty, but I think you're going to get a lot out of this. And like with previous episode, I'm going to ask you to share with me which one resonated the most with you. And I'm going to invite you to connect with me in social media. If you're listening from Spotify, there is an option for you to share your comments there. You can email me in the show notes of this podcast episode. You're going to find all the different ways you can connect with me, but I would love to hear which of these mindset shifts resonated the most with you. Okay, let's start with the mindset shift number 1. And this one is to think in terms of energy versus time. Think about managing your energy instead of managing your time. Time is very important. And we all know that the day has only 24 hours and are the same 24 hours for everyone. So those who are more productive, those who get more things done, it's not that they have more time. They just do a better job of managing the time that they have to get more done. And part of the reason why there's people that get more things done in the same period of time is because they're doing a better job at managing their energy. We do have limited time, but we also have limited energy and limited focus. And we a lot of times underestimate that. That energy and that focus, it's sometimes the thing that most people overlooks and the one thing that can make the difference in you getting more things done and feeling more productive. Maybe the reason why we're not able to follow a plan or a schedule, how many times we spend hours planning out how to get a project done, a task done. We create a schedule for ourselves, right? But we fail to follow through and we blame ourselves because we think there's something wrong with us, right? Because the plan was perfect. How come we didn't meet the plan? And the reason for that, or one of the reasons for that, is because we fail to take in account the levels of energy in the mix when we do that plan. We are all different. For example, I'm a morning person. I am more productive in the morning. As the day goes by, my productivity starts to drop, let's be honest. I know that there are certain times in the day where I am more creative, where I am better at solving problems. And there are times in the day where maybe it's a better time for me to do more admin task, right? So getting to know ourselves and our levels of energy and how those fluctuate during the days and what are the things that impact those levels of energy and thinking in terms of managing our energy versus managing our time can be an important mindset shift that can make the difference. I think it was last year or maybe it was the year before. Time flies by, so I don't know exactly, but I will link this on the show notes of the podcast episode. I had a special guest here on the podcast. It was one of the most popular podcast episodes in a long time. I had the sleep doctor and my podcast. He had wrote a couple of books around sleep and energy management per se, and he talks about the power of when you do certain things in the day, depending on what your chronotype is, can really influence how you feel and your productivity levels. And I am such a fan of his theory. There are four different chronotypes, and he and I talk about all of them on that interview that I did. So I really recommend you watching that YouTube video or listening to that podcast episode. You can find it in both formats, whatever you like the best. But we tackle the different chronotypes and how your chronotype impacts when is the right time for you to do certain things. In his book, he talks about even what is the best time to ask for a salary increase depending on your chronotype. So he goes by and breaks down a lot of things in his book attached to what your chronotype is. And it's all based on your energy levels. So for me, that I'm an early bird, I like to block time in the morning to do creative work. If I need to work on a project or a new idea that I'm massaging at the time, the best time, the prime time for me to get more done in a shorter period of time and produce better quality of work is the morning. So when you're managing your calendar, right, we're not forgetting about time. We're not forgetting about our calendars. We're not forgetting about our time management systems and tools. But when you're using all of that, if you keep in mind your levels of energy, you can highly influence your productivity levels. So one time I did this exercise and it was a really fun exercise to do. But over 7 days, I did an energy audit for myself. And I think I talked about this on a podcast episode before. And I even had created a spreadsheet that you could download to do this exercise for yourself. But it's very easy. You just need a piece of paper. And during 7 days, you every hour you're measuring what you're doing and what was your energy level. And at the end of the 7 days, you can start to see patterns on when are you at the peak of your energy and your productivity during the day. And then you can start to be more intentional about when you schedule certain things. Another tip that for me has been life changing when it comes to managing my energy and my time together is when I have a meeting that I know is going to drain my energy. You know, there are those meetings, there are those interactions that you already know even before getting there that it's an energy drainer because of the topic that you're talking about, because of the people you're talking to, whatever the reason is. I always like to schedule something right after that boosts my energy. In fact, I like to schedule something before and after. So that event that drains my energy is in the middle of the sandwich. I can enter that time block with high energy and I can recharge immediately after that time block. So, in summary, the mindset shift that is so critical to be more productive is to start thinking in terms of energy instead of time. And I wouldn't say instead, but you need both. But you need to start thinking about your energy more and manage your energy over your time. Schedule your work around your energy levels. If you're most focused in the morning, then do your most important work at that time. Plan your no brainer task in the middle or at the end of the day when you are least focused or you have less energy. If you are a night owl, like my husband is a night owl, for him is the complete opposite. His most creative work happens at night. My most creative work happens in the morning. You need to get to know yourself and what is your energy cycle throughout the day so you can plan accordingly. Okay, mindset shift number 2. And that is just do it. Just do it. Instead of spending so much time thinking about what is that you're going to do, when are you going to do it, how you're going to do it, how much time you're going to put into doing it, just do it. I have a rule for myself. I am the kind of person that keeps an ongoing task list. So whenever I'm in meetings or throughout the day and things come up, I need to write them down. Otherwise, I'm going to forget. And I hate when that happens. I hate when I forget about something that I had committed I was going to do. So I keep a running list of everything that I need to do. But I have a rule for myself. If doing the thing is going to take 2 minutes or less, I'm just going to do it then instead of writing it down on my to do list. You can set whatever rule for yourself, but I think a lot of times we spend so much time thinking about what we need to do, how we need to do it, when we need to do it, like waiting for the perfect timing, perfect circumstances to get things done. We need to get out of our head and start getting into action. So the mindset shift is just do it. I am a planning nerd. I love to plan ahead. I like to make schedules. I like to make lists, as I said. However, there are definitely times when I also get stuck in analysis paralysis, right? As they call it. I get stuck in just thinking about the things that I need to do, how I want to do them, what do I need? And a lot of times I need to call myself out to stop over analyzing and just start doing. You'll save more time and you'll get the task done much faster if you get into action mode. Thinking about things are not going to get them out of your list. The only way you're going to cross things out of your to do list is by doing them. So, pushing back what you need to do will just make you feel overwhelmed. The longer that it takes for you to start doing those things, the more difficult it's going to be for you to get the things done. For two reasons. One, we start procrastinating. And two, now we have accumulated a bunch of things that we need to do that is so much easier to get things done when you only have a few things than when everything has piled up because you just keep putting them aside and pushing them out to do it sometime when you have time. That time is never going to come. There's always going to be something. So start getting into action. The next mindset shift is to realize that multitasking is a myth, that it doesn't work, and that you are not a multitasker. For the longest period of time, I was very proud to say that I was a master multitasker. I would take pride in multitasking until I learned that that was actually working against me and not helping me get more things done or be more productive. There's really not such thing as multitasking. When we call something multitasking, what we're actually happening is that our brains are switching very quickly between tasks, which requires more energy and more effort from us than what we realize. So, going back to managing your energy versus your time, it might feel like you're making a better use of your time when you're multitasking, but you're actually not because you're draining your energy by shifting so quickly from one thing to another. And this can lead to more errors, lower quality output, and you feeling more tired. So then you don't have the energy to get more things done. Focusing on doing one thing at a time will get you through your to do list faster than if you're multitasking. And believe it, I test this out many times because, as I said, I was very proud of being a super multitasker. And I did not believe when people told me that multitasking didn't exist and that it was working against my productivity. I was the first one that would push back on those statements. So I had to test it for myself. And I tried to get a bunch of things done while multitasking the way that I always did, and then monotasking, meaning taking one task at a time. And I was shocked at the results of my experiment. I was able to get more things done, but also the quality of the outputs was so much better when I was just focusing one thing at a time. Now, there are times where you can multitask, and that is when one of the two tasks doesn't require any brain power. When I talk about multitasking doesn't exist, is when I'm referring to tasks that require your brain power at the same time. But there are situations where multitasking is possible. I still multitask. I love to listen to audiobooks while I'm driving or doing laundry. I love to listen to music while I'm on my treadmill. There are situations where it's possible to multitask, but it has to be that one and only one of the things that you're doing at the same time requires your brain power. So, in summary, the mindset shift we're talking about here, mindset shift number two, is multitasking is a myth. If you're trying to do several things at the same time, it will take longer for you to get one thing done because your attention and your energy is spread over several things. At the same time, you might miss some things here and there because you're not concentrating on a single task at a time. This can make your work look sloppy. So, you want to avoid that and shift your mindset to realize that monotasking is the way to go if you want to get more things done and be more productive. Mindset shift number three, you need to take care of yourself first, and then the rest will follow. How many times we think, I don't have time to take care of myself. I'm so busy. I have so many things to do. And we keep pushing out making time for ourselves to take care of ourselves because we're too busy trying to get things done. And we think that if we stop doing what we're doing in order to take care of ourselves, then we're not going to be able to finish the things that we need to do, or that our productivity is going to be impacted negatively. And the opposite is true. But we need to make that mindset shift to believe that taking care of ourselves is the best investment that we can make if we want to be productive. As much as possible, operate on a full tank. Just like you will not drive, or you will not even be able to drive your car on an empty tank, you can't drive yourself on an empty tank. You need to make sure that you're constantly refueling and recharging yourself. I don't know what kind of person you are, because I think there's two types of people, right? There's the people that wait until your car tells you that it's out of gas to go and refill your tank. And then there's the group of people that when their tank is like halfway through, they go and refill it. I'm more on that second group, to be honest. I always like to have the peace of mind that I'm not going to run out of gas on my car. And the same happens for ourselves. We need to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves first so that we can do everything else that we need to do. If you're tired, if you struggle to focus, it will take you longer to do the same things. Sometimes that could have just take 10 minutes, and now it's taking 30 minutes or even an hour to get that same thing done, which was, at the end of the day, in retrospective, a waste of your time. I'm going to give you a perfect example of this. And I think I shared this example on the podcast before. Last year, I switched jobs. I didn't take any vacation during the year. I started the new job at the end of February, and I went all the way through December without taking any breaks. I was so tired. I was exhausted. Sometimes I didn't felt that way because I was so excited at the same time and so focused on learning, and I underestimated how much energy it was going to take for me to just learn the new job, learn the new company, all the things. So come December, I was working on this presentation for a session that I was going to be hosting in January. And my goal was to finish it before I left for the break in December. This is when we went to Hawaii. Anyways, long story short, I didn't finish it. I spent a couple of weeks working on this and I was feeling stuck. I Things were not flowing. I was not on my creative self. I went on vacation. We went to Hawaii for a full week. And when I came back, I remember I was still on vacation and I took 2 hours. And in 2 hours, I finished the whole thing. One thing that had taken me weeks and I did not make any progress and I did not create anything that I was proud of, I tackled in 2 hours, sorry, after that break. And the quality of the work was 1,000 times better than what I was working on prior to my break. Never underestimate taking care of yourself and the importance of recharging constantly. Don't wait long periods of time to recharge yourself. But that starts with a mindset shift, right? It's not about taking the break, it's about you being in the right mindset to believe, to have the certainty that taking care of yourself is going to help you be more productive afterwards. That you can do more, that you can be more productive on a full tank than what you can do by keep working without stopping to refill your tank. In the 7 habits of highly effective people, Dr. Covey talks about this or refers about this concept as sharpening the saw, right? If you keep trying to cut trees with the same saw and you keep going for days, for weeks, without stopping to sharpen your saw, it's going to get so much difficult to cut those trees than if you take a break to sharpen that saw and then you can go much quicker and cut more trees. I don't like that example because cutting trees, it's not something we should be doing. Anyways, back to the podcast. Think about the times when you work while you were sick or you were not feeling great. How much good work did you actually do during that time? I was in the past on the mindset that I had to work no matter what. That was my mindset. Now I realize that just working for the sake of working is not going to yield the better results. It's not going to produce, I am not going to produce my best work if I'm not feeling well. That it is better to take a break and recharge and get healthy before I keep going. Constantly working overtime, skipping breaks might seem like it will help you get more things done, but you'll definitely see the repercussions of this in your work. Not only will it take you longer to finish tasks, but the quality of your work will suffer as well. So you want to definitely change this mindset and focus on taking care of yourself first, so then the rest will follow. And this was the last mindset shift that I have for you today. So I want to just summarize what we've talked about today. Mindset shift number one, we said we're going to change our mindset from constantly focusing on managing our time to start managing our energy instead. Mindset shift number two, we said we're going to stop getting stuck in planning and overthinking, and we're just going to do the thing. Mindset shift number three, we're going to stop multitasking. We're going to stop believing that multitasking is the way to get more things done. But rather than if we focus our energy and our focus in one single thing at a time, we will be able not to get more things done, to be more productive, and to also impact positively the quality of our work. And the last mindset we talked about is we need to take care of ourselves first. We are more productive when we run on a full tank than when we're trying to get things done on an empty tank. So those are four. I said five. There were actually four mindset shifts that you can make to start getting more things done and be more productive. I would love to hear from you which of these four resonated the most with you. If you're viciously honest with yourself, are you there? Or are there still some mindset shifts that you can make that can help you be more productive? And if you could work in any of these four, which one would you start working on today? As I said, I would love to hear. You can find how to reach out to me on the show notes of this podcast episode. And with that, I hope that you have a productive week ahead. If you found this podcast episode helpful, as always, I'm going to ask you to share it with a friend or a colleague that can also benefit from the content. With that, I hope you have an amazing and productive week, and I'll talk to you again next week on another episode of the Leading Yourself podcast.